Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're doing a complete book summary review of Financial Feminist by Tori Dunlap. We're going to impartially break down the author's core philosophies, the systemic issues she really shines a light on, and most importantly, the actual actionable steps she gives to get your money in order. So whether you're a total personal finance nerd or you're literally just starting to figure out what a budget even is, This Explainer is going to distill the book's entire roadmap for getting control over your financial life. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll hit 1. The Financial Feminist philosophy. 2. Systemic and emotional barriers. 3. The financial priority list. 4. Budgeting and hustle culture. 5. The power of negotiation. And finally, 6. Financial independence as activism.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the Financial Feminist philosophy.
To really grasp the whole framework of this book, we kind of have to start with the story that sparked it all. Dunlap writes, "This is the feeling I want for every woman." See, the book explains how she found herself stuck in a super toxic work environment. Stressed, belittled, feeling totally powerless right around the holidays. But she had a lifeline. She had built up a robust emergency fund from 2 solid years of saving. And that financial cushion, it gave her the power to literally just walk away without that paralyzing fear of going broke. Imagine that relief, that profound sense of autonomy. Well, that's the catalyst for the entire book.
So that brings us to how the book actually defines its title concept, financial feminism. Basically, it's about giving women the practical tools they need to take control of their finances. And Dunlap argues this is absolutely crucial to challenge a patriarchal system that, in her view, is designed to keep them small. Now, it's worth noting she openly acknowledges her own privilege here. She got a really strong financial education from her parents and graduated completely debt-free. But recognizing that this kind of financial literacy is honestly a luxury that a lot of marginalized groups just don't get, she founded her company, Her First 100K, to share that knowledge with everyone else.
Moving right along to Section 2, Systemic and Emotional Barriers.
Now, before even getting into the math of personal finance, the book takes a hard look at the psychological hurdles readers face. The book frames these issues as structural inequities that require, well, a whole lot of active unlearning. Society often makes women feel just ashamed about money. But Dunlap makes the case that things like the gender pay gap or the wildly disproportionate amount of unpaid labor falling on women aren't individual failures, they're systemic forces. She even shares her own personal struggles with imposter syndrome, highlighting that you have to recognize the system is flawed and then actively advocate for yourself anyway.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of the debt data here. According to the book, women hold an astounding 67%, literally 2/3 of all student debt in America. That is a staggering figure. To put that into perspective, it means a massive portion of the population is starting their wealth-building journey from a really deep deficit. Dunlap's point is crystal clear. This isn't about, individual spending habits like buying too many lattes. It's a massive structural hurdle.
Let's move to and see how this builds right into Section 3, the financial priority list.
So the crucial point is this step-by-step, totally actionable roadmap. Dunlap lays out a strict order of operations. Step 1 is the emergency fund. She says you've got to save 3 to 6 months of living expenses in a high-yield savings account. Remember that toxic job story from earlier? Yeah, this fund is exactly what buys you your freedom to leave. Okay, step 2 is debt management. You want to prioritize high-interest debt. But, and this is a big but, never at the expense of your baseline emergency fund. And finally, step 3 is investing. Dunlap really demystifies this whole process. Her advice? Start early, even with small amounts, to let compound interest do the heavy lifting for your long-term wealth.
Next up is Section 4, budgeting and hustle culture. Here's where the book completely challenges modern societal expectations. Hustle culture, which Dunlap heavily criticizes, equates your basic human worth with your productivity. It glorifies burnout and those crazy 4 a.m. wake-ups, sacrificing mental health just to earn a little more. Because, hey, nothing says success quite like falling asleep onto your keyboard, right? Well, instead of all that, Dunlap advocates for what she calls values-based budgeting. This basically means intentionally spending your money only on things that genuinely matter to you, like maybe travel or your family, and just mercilessly cutting expenses that don't. Using our own business journey as proof, she notes that prioritizing sleep and maintaining strong boundaries actually helped her hit some incredibly ambitious goals without, losing her mind in the process. Which brings us to Section 5, the power of negotiation.
$1 million. Let that sink in for a second. According to Dunlap, this staggering figure is the estimated lifetime cost of not negotiating your salary. When you accept a lower initial offer, it means every single subsequent raise, bonus, and retirement match is mathematically stunted for the rest of your career. It's like a domino effect. This massive financial penalty is exactly why the book dedicates so much real estate to step-by-step negotiation guides. We're talking everything from researching market rates to practicing the exact literal scripts you can use when talking to your boss.
And this brilliantly illustrates how those negotiation tactics actually play out in the real world. The book highlights case studies like Moji Agun, a consultant who overcame her nerves to demand her rightful salary and establish really firm work boundaries. Or consider a hospitality worker who successfully leveraged her transferable skills to pivot entirely into corporate HR. Both of these stories are used to prove that knowing your worth and having the resourcefulness to self-advocate can tangibly, visibly transform your career trajectory. And finally, we reach Section 6, Financial Independence as Activism.
In these concluding chapters, the book zooms way out. Dunlap makes the overarching argument that for women and marginalized groups, financial independence is actually a form of protest. The book posits that in a system designed to keep certain groups at a disadvantage, earning more money and investing aren't just personal, individual victories. They are literal acts of resistance. So the ultimate goal here isn't just hoarding cash like a dragon. It's about using that stability to advocate for equitable policies and sharing your knowledge to fuel broader collective action.
We're going to wrap up by posing the exact same provocative question the book leaves its readers with. How will you use your financial power? Financial Feminist frames money not as the end goal itself, but as the ultimate blueprint for freedom, purpose, and having options. Whether that's the power to leave a terrible job, the confidence to demand $1 million more over your lifetime, or the resources to actually drive societal change, the core message is definitely clear. Financial literacy is power. I really hope this book's summary review gave you a clear, structured understanding of Tori Dunlap's framework, so take some time to review your own financial priority list and keep exploring.